it just doesn't work properly in my hands. So that is the reason. But we know that Manta is a pretty good device. In those standards who use the device routinely, I prefer one probe line and 1/8 French angiocell. And it's in the protocol, so we don't change it. So that's the only reason.
The two aspects to the Manta device. One is you assess the depth at the beginning of the procedure. If you get that wrong, you will fail with your Manta. And the second thing is the cost. The current cost of Manta in India is twice the cost of 2 proglades. So it's almost the cost of 4 proglades. So more than the cost, if you get it wrong in the first time around, if you don't get the depth right, then you will have a failure of Manta. So it's much easier with the other devices.
Yeah, just
another sentence regarding Manta. I'm sorry.
No, it's not.
If you start using probe line and angiocell and you fails, Manta is not a bailout device. So that's very, very important, because what you have just said, but you have to measure the depth properly at the beginning or the before the procedure. So Manta cannot be used for a bailout device. I'm sorry.
Yeah, actually just wanted to share one experience, and then I would like to ask the panelists one question, of course. This was a case, I have worked extensively in these 2 labs. We have 2 labs here, and this is the lab which is dedicated to the TAVI. And my experience which I want to share was November 2011, the first Indian patient flew with us worked out in Apollo Delhi, and then we did it. Alec Riviere and Ellen signed up, they did 40 minutes exactly the same protocol, everything was done. So I recall that moment when the first Indian patient, November 2011, India, we did not have TAVI at that time. My question to the panelists, because this still remains unanswered, what are the cases where you will not predilate? Because it's better to predilate most of the patients. This is what I personally feel. I could ask Ellen Elshanina regarding this thing, but I mean, that will keep you safe. Something like direct stenting. Here, if you stuck up, then it's a big problem. So what are the patients where you actually would not like to predilate?
So with this, we'll probably close the session after this comment. For this, go back and answer, you need to have the basics. You need to know how the valves anchor. The 3 different anchorings. One is the annular calcium, the other one is annular and aortic, and third one is the leaflet anchoring. So if the first 2 are the ones which we are commonly using, where you need the annular anchoring. Annular anchoring means calcium. So if you have a mild calcium or moderate calcium, if you remove that, you lose the anchoring. So mild to moderate calcium, especially balloon expandable, you better go in and put the valve. Mild to moderate, so the bicuspid valves, if you're using a valve which doesn't have that opening ports, which we have about 6 or 7 valves in India at the moment, hydro valve, navitor valve, all those valves, you still predilate, then you put those valves, because in those cases, predilation is better than post-dilatation. But otherwise, majority of the self-expanding, predilate. Balloon expanding, more than moderate calcium, predilate. With that, we'll close this and we'll move on to the next.